Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti, and if you don't know, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here under Infiniti Crafting Co. and the website InfinityCraftingCompany.com. Today I am here with channel chat 117. Today is officially the first day of Vlogust, or aka August. If you're new here, welcome aboard. This doesn't happen too often. I have not done Vlogust in 3 years. So, you know, this is going to be kind of a crash course. You get to see my lovely face every single day this month, so buckle in. If you are a returning viewer to my content, thank you so much for being here and, you know, just sticking around through all of my ups and downs and decisions and things like that. You know, none of this would be possible without you guys tuning in and just being generally supportive of my content. I don't know what I just kicked. Anyway, like I said, it's been about 3 years now since I have done Vlogust, and you know, to be honest, I almost forgot that today was going to be August 1st, and yesterday I was flipping out. So, let me see, last time I did Vlogust was in August of 2020, and I was heading into university, and that had my nerves like up to here, and you know, it was just a grand old time. So basically what I did back then was just kind of go through a rundown of different things I was doing behind the scenes, my different thoughts on stuff going on. Of course, I introduced myself day one, so I guess we can start off with that today and then roll into some of the other items I have on my list of things to get to. As always, I do enjoy your engagement, so if you want me to cover a specific topic in a future episode of Vlogust or a future channel chat this month, then you just have to leave that down below. I absolutely love answering people's questions and such, which I guess is partially why I'm doing the YouTube thing, right? Okay, so first and foremost, for those of you guys who don't know what Vlogust is, that is short for a vlog every day in August. It is a challenge, mostly for me, because I do go to school and I work and all that other fun stuff all together with this, and it gets real interesting, especially as school starts, and some days I am more MIA than others, but we're gonna see how well I stick it out this year. Why did it take me so long to get back around to doing Vlogust? You know, I think if I remember correctly, I think in 2020 when I did Vlogust the last time, I went on a bit of a hiatus afterwards. I just put the channel on autopilot and I disappeared for a bit. I was worn out, I think, but it was kind of a fun thing. And then after that, I just started leaning more so into what my audience wanted to see. So I would put out community polls and people were like, nah, you don't have to do Vlogust. This year I just feel like doing it, so I just went ahead and did it. I was going to do it in the short form thingies, but I posted 83 shorts in June, and frankly, I don't want to do that this time. So back to long form it is. And I guess the next thing is like, why do Vlogust generally? I think it's fun. Even if I do get tired by the end of it, I think it's a fun way to just kind of introduce bits and pieces of, well, me, because I am the only person behind the channel, and you know, for the most part you guys just get to see my tutorial content. You don't really get to see the personality or the like human being behind the content, and so I feel like this is one of those rare occasions outside of my other regular channel chats that you guys get to see that. And it's also a time where I get to engage, like I said, my community and kind of get feedback and do Q&A type stuff, because I really thrive on that kind of thing. So don't be shy, feel free to toss your hat in the ring. I don't bite, at least not through the camera. Alrighty, so I get, you know, as always, there are a lot of new faces, and I will continually feel blessed by just all these different influxes of people coming in to view my content. Every time I log on, it's like, huh, that is really interesting. I think in the beginning it used to almost, well, did it freak me out? I don't know, but it did make me a little bit nervous, not gonna lie. I was not a very social human being. I'm probably still not the most social person. I try though, but it's always astounding to me just to know how many people like to tune in and hear me talk or teach or whatever on this channel. both here on YouTube and on Rumble. I do mirror my content between the two just to kind of entertain both audiences and just not have all of my content in one spot. But you know, it's been really cool just to cater to a lot of people over these last 5 years. It's not something I ever thought that I would do. I don't know how to phrase that. Like, you know, I guess thinking about then, like when I first started this channel and everything, I never really thought that it would blossom, right? Like I had hopes for it too. I had the highest of hopes that it would like launch into a business thing, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be a faceless business thing or I was just like some kind of anonymous designer. I don't know what I expected. But most definitely, it was not a cumulative audience of almost 50,000 people. Nonetheless, welcome y'all. You know, this is what you get. Just kind of an awkward individual loving life and enjoying the fiber arts and as well as the fine arts. So I guess I can kind of start this off with introducing some things about myself, like what I do, what I don't do, I don't know. So I started this channel back in 2018 when I was in community college. I think I was in my last year of community college. Okay, so I was 20 and I was pursuing art education. I've always been a creative type, so to speak. I did have this spell, between like 8th grade and I didn't go to high school, so after 8th grade I just kind of fell off with it a little bit, but then I kind of got back into it while I was at home and I was just like, okay. And lo and behold, I ended up in community college for art, but I wanted to do mathematics and art and business, and I kind of had to hone that in. Like I had very specific things that I wanted to do, but I had to figure out how I was going to mesh that in together. So what I ended up doing was going for art education so I can teach K through 12. And I was taking small business classes alongside that, and then 2020, a year after I graduated and whatnot, I slid into university under art education and so on and so on, but I'll get to that another day or later on in this video, who knows. But basically I started out with art ed. I've been very passionate about the arts my whole life. It's just how I've been able to communicate and express myself and all that fun stuff. Even though I was pretty, you know, well-spoken, so to speak, it was just a lot of, you know, I didn't really know how to, kind of like what I'm doing now. I didn't know how to put it out there in a very confident way, and I felt that my arts were a better way of expressing how I felt and all that. Especially growing up, I wasn't really allowed to express a whole heck of a lot, so, you know, a lot of that going on. Nonetheless, here now. Thriving. So I'm an artist by trade. My mediums are painting, of course, ceramics, if you guys have not seen my pottery yet. It is live and well, both on Instagram and on my website in my shop. I really kind of dove into pottery a couple years ago. I've loved clay as a medium for quite a while, actually, and I was more or less playing with it before I got into ceramics, but I was doing it on a sculptural level. But I felt like I enjoy the wheel a lot more and just kind of creating stuff for my craft room and in general. So here I am today, incorporating it into my fiber arts business and, you know, also decorating my grandmother's house with all of my paintings and pottery and such. But anywho, I used to be really into writing and then I gave that up for a while too. So I don't know, I've just been kind of all over the place. I was performing arts for a little while. I did orchestra band, I played the clarinet. I still let me correct that. I used to kind of practice until I broke my tooth last year, and now I can't play it still. But maybe one day I'll be able to get this fixed and actually go back to practicing from time to time on my clarinet, because that was actually a really fun time. And I feel like if I would have gone through the performing arts high school and kind of kept on with it, I probably would have continued on and do something instrumental, but who knows. Everything happens for a reason. Speaking of being in college, so back in, what was this? Yeah, back in May, April-ish, I actually helped with the garden beds on campus because I like to garden. I have a lot of hobbies. I like to garden. So like the plants that I had too many seedlings for my home garden, I put up on campus. Now, interestingly enough, my vegetables and stuff didn't turn out this year, unfortunately. But my professor emailed me about a week or so ago, and I just saw it last night and I felt bad, so I'm just like, do I respond to this at this point, or do I just go up there? But anyway, apparently my tomatoes are going crazy up there, so I'm gonna go up there today and kind of check them out and pluck some if they're ripened and all that, or maybe even get some green ones, because fried green tomatoes are great. But yeah, so that's exciting. I think mostly at home here my herbs have turned out, so like my basils and lemongrasses and things like that have really turned out well. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, right? Let's see, what else could you guys possibly want to know about me? I don't know. I am a coffee junkie. Less caffeine junkie than I used to be, because it used to be that I would chug both energy drinks and the coffee. And yes, I do realize how unhealthy that is, thank you. But, you know, somehow when you're trying to graduate and, you know, you're running around town doing observations on a bus and stuff like that, you know, sometimes the extra caffeine is necessary. So, you know, nowadays I'm not quite that stressed out, and I don't have to expend that much energy, so I don't do that much caffeine. Coffee will do, though sometimes I guess that's a little excessive depending on the kind of day it is, but you know, it's fine. Coffee and crochet go together. I could talk about that. I guess, you know, I was a crocheter first, so I learned to crochet when I was 15, and I've been doing it for 10 years. I am 25. I will be 26 this year. And I got into that for much of the same reason I got into the arts, just an expression thing, and then I found it to be very cathartic, so I just kept doing it. And I learned to knit 2 years later because I was quite impatient with it. Fun story, you know, back in my day when I started knitting, you know, I remember getting my supplies and my yarn and stuff from Crafty, back when it was actually a craft store and not just a subscription platform, back when it was good. You know, and I do remember they were like these plastic Lion brand knitting needles that I hated the texture of, with this fuzzy Bernat yarn. It was pink. And I also didn't like the texture of that, and somehow Infiniti thought it was a good idea to start knitting with these two objects, and it did not turn out well. I ended up sticking them in a mason jar, and I kept them as a trophy for like 4 years. But, you know, I got into knitting, and I eventually picked up on it and did pretty well with it, and now I do tutorials on the internet. So that's kind of fun. I also design my own knitting patterns, so I put out designs for both crochet and knitting, if you're unfamiliar. Just kind of a hobby, and it depends on whichever craft strikes me, because last year or the year before last, or both, I think it was, I was on a knitting spree where I did nothing but knitting patterns. So sometimes the inspiration comes in waves. I don't know. I guess the crochet is kind of coming back, though right now I am working on knitting. I got 2 knitting projects mapped out. One is for one of my patterns that I actually haven't released yet. I teased it, but I never got around to starting the actual recording process for the project. The project is my spike stitch sweater. I modified a crochet stitch into a knitting stitch, and I was very fascinated by that, so I made a sweater vest with my design, and I finished it, I think, in January, and I got to wear it in February or March before it got warm. So that was really cool. I got lots of compliments on it, so I am looking forward to making the second rendition to that. And that will probably go on my website, though I'm thinking about it heavily, because it's the main color on it is going to be green, and I'm really loving green, so we'll see about that. Again, much like the last time I did Vlogust, it's more of an informal thing, like with the channel chats. So like I said, each day I'll come up with something different, or I'll feed off the comments, whatever you guys want to put in the comments. And talk about that kind of stuff, because I can go on and on about specific things or non-specific things or whatever, but you know, as I often say, I digress often on this channel, so it does not take much to get me going down a rabbit hole, but you know, the OGs will know. I'm trying to figure out which topic I want to dive into next. I've been doing a lot of stuff over the last, what is this, July? So I've been doing a lot of stuff over the last 2 months, but over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a lot with the website, and then about, I don't know, sometime last week, the idea came to me. I'm like, you know, I should really start integrating more things into my main website, which led me to do 2 things. One was the membership thing that I announced, I guess a couple of weeks ago now. And the other thing has to do with my merch store. So I know I have it in my notes, but I don't know which one I should touch on first. So with my members program, right, I've been wanting to kind of dive into that for a while now, just to kind of build up support for the channel aside from ads, you know, which, I mean, you guys see the ads regardless to whether I would be in the program or not, but nonetheless, you know, I wanted ways to basically grow my business / channel and be able to do more stuff for said business / channel. So I've been thinking about memberships for a very long while, and I kind of put out community polls to fish around for it. And at the time when I did that last poll, I don't think it was received quite as well, but I was like, okay, give it some time, and I didn't do it. But since then, my platform that I use for my website has rolled out some interesting tools that would have allowed me to do something kind of like memberships, so I did it. So it's completely embedded in my website. It's off of YouTube. There's lots of reasons why I didn't put it on YouTube. For one, I can't really put my PDFs as a perk for the YouTube thing, and so there's no real interfacing for me to put downloads and things like that in the mix should I want to, or incorporate my blog posts into the YouTube thing. So I was like, okay, let me just put it on my website. And so on my website, not only can I embed the video tutorials for my patterns, but I can also in the same blog posts list the instructions from the actual pattern, so the patterns themselves, into the blog posts, which is really cool for me. And I can choose whether or not to incorporate ads or affiliate links into those blog posts and all that, which I don't put the ads in the blog post, but I do still have affiliate links in them because, you know, living life. But that's been a thing, and again, I priced it at $5.99 a month, which seemed fair enough. I have something along the lines of 40 patterns floating around out there. Obviously, not all of them are going under the membership thing, because some of them I've just outright done for free and have listed on my YouTube channel, so if you ever wanted to make my projects, you could. But for the ones that aren't listed on my YouTube channel, those are the ones that I'm going through. Some of them have already previously been updated, so those are already being uploaded to the blog. The ones that I have not added videos to or updated recently, those are being worked on. So things along that line are being hashed out behind the scenes, which is really exciting because I get to build up this whole little separate library of content for you guys to check out. And again, my goal with that is to basically get it to where Infiniti Crafting Co. is sustaining itself, which, I mean, it's, again, with all the other stuff that I've been doing, so between the pottery and the other pattern releases, the merch store, things like that, I want this to be able to carry itself so that I can better cater to my audience with the content that they want to see and whatnot. So ultimately, if I can get about 1% of my audience supporting that, that would be so great. Oh my gosh. I feel like there would be so much more that I could do with Infiniti Crafting Co. at that point, and not, you know, be stressed out about, oh my god, what if this doesn't work out, or what if I don't get this amount of views every month, you know? It'd be totally community supported, because I really don't know what people think when I tell them I do YouTube or how many subscribers I have or whatever, but it's like, you know, it's not like I have big companies backing me or like you know, sponsoring me or anything. It's strictly community supported. So like if I have no community support, then I'm just not here, you know. So if you want to support me, that is a really great way to do so. It is a monthly thing. It's $5.99 a month. Nothing ridiculous. Which brings me to another point too. The coffee goal is going pretty good. So my coffee goal my coffee goal right now is to raise 5K because I'm trying to get my tooth fixed. I could go into the long story of it, but the abridged version is that Infiniti ate concrete outside of a quick trip in September of last year and busted out the front of her tooth. If you're squeamish, I'm going to pop a picture up here in a couple seconds so you can see what it looks like. So if you're squeamish, look away for a few minutes. Just listen. Busted out the tooth in my face, and you know, I went through about 4 or 5 dentists telling me that they could fix it. As it turned out though, I shattered the tooth up the root, and so it could not in fact be fixed with a simple root canal and crown. So they're like, oh, we can just pull it out. And I was like, you've lost your ever-loving mind. So I've been trying to get it replaced with an implant. Noticeably, at least to me, and I notice it more so when I'm in post-production and trying to edit my tutorials, that it's altering how I speak. Certain things I think I've just given up on trying to say, word combinations and such, because I can't put the friction between that tooth and my bottom teeth to actually put out those pronunciations. There we go. And just likewise, it'd be nice to be able to, you know, eat an apple, because I have not in almost a year. That's kind of weird, but you know. So I'm raising money for that, and you know, before we ask, yes, I work. No, my insurance doesn't cover it, and there was a third thing. Yeah, I'm in school, so I don't have time to get like another job to work full time to do that. So that has also been community supported, and I appreciate each and every last one of you who has bought a pattern or bought my pottery or has donated a coffee, because that is all going to that for the time being, so I can get the money to go get my tooth fixed. And yes, I am going through the dental schools. There's 2 where I live, and I'm just trying to figure out who's going to get me in. The one has had me on a wait list since February, has not contacted me. The other one takes no insurance, which I mean, again, puts me back at square one, and I'm pretty sure that they cost more. I'm not sure, but I would love to at least start off with $5,000 to get this fixed and get my life together. I don't know. So we'll see how that works out by the end of the year. It'd be really great if I could, I don't know if I expect to reach that goal by the end of the year, but it'd be really great to make some extra progress on it. I'm at about 9% of that 5,000 goal, so that's really exciting for me, because that means I'm closer to getting my face fixed. And I can, like, you know, smile at people again without feeling awkward. And it's just like a lot of other extra stuff with, like, sometimes it bleeds at night and all that fun stuff, so, you know, but, you know, TMI, whatever. So that's another reason why I'm so adamant about making my business work for me, because I feel like in the least, like, out of all the things that Infiniti Crafting Co. can do, you know, in the minimum, I would love it if Infiniti Crafting Co. could successfully allow me to go get my face fixed. I don't think that's a haughty goal to reach, so if you want to help me out, those links are always there in my description box. Not necessary, but it would be loved. What else did I do? I think I was talking about earlier, the merch shop and how I didn't say that, but I'm integrating it into my website. I've been with Teespring for as long as I've had my other platform, so it's been about 5 years, and it used to be a really great place to host my stuff, or for really anybody to host their merch, but over the years they've changed management, and I don't want to say a sinking ship, but it's not as great as it used to be, which I know we've all experienced that. And I got yet another email probably 2 days ago, and they're like, oh, we're raising our prices again. And I am so tired of them doing that, because it makes it hard to offer, like for creators to offer their merchandise at a reasonable price. And I saw randomly one day in the merch shelf where one of my hoodies was like $63, and I don't remember putting that price tag on that. So I got to work doing research and whatnot, and I decided to go with Printful, and they actually had an integration that I could put in into my website. So I tested out a couple of items, made them available directly there, and I noticed that the prices are lower. So that was really cool. So I was able to do that. So far I think I have like a notebook and a hoodie available on my website, but I'll be slowly working to roll out my other designs there. And I think any future designs that I crank out, because I have several that I haven't listed yet on my Teespring shop, I think any future designs that I have will be going directly onto my website and kind of put that there. Most of the research videos that I noticed too, they had this caveat. They were like, oh, you could just create an Etsy shop and, you know, do that. But that contributes to the problem, I think, you know, well, one of the reasons why I left Etsy, and then like a lot of other people's plight with Etsy as a whole, because it's like, that's drop shipping, it's not handmade, and that's just kind of intruding on a marketplace that, for one, I just left, but also intruding on a marketplace where people are trying to get their handmade stuff out there. So it's like, let's not be part of the problem. So I put it in my own handmade shop, and I feel comfortable still calling it the handmade shop because 90% of everything there is handmade. So, you know, I don't think there's a problem with me slowly incorporating my own products, so to speak, into that. So that's really cool. Plus, I was able to order a sample, and I really like the quality of their shirts. I'm actually wearing one right now with the different Infiniti Crafting Co. logo. It was also really cool. Wait, that's the wrong side. It was really cool because I was able to put my Infiniti Crafting Co. on the arm in 2018 for the year I set everything up. I haven't actually put this one in my shop yet. I really wanted to see what it would come out like, and I was fairly impressed. So I think I will be making a shift from this one, because I did something like this way back when. And while I still kind of like it, I think it's time to phase it out because it's been there for 3 years. So, you know, time to cycle through it. Unless y'all like it, I don't know. But I really like the one that I'm wearing, so I think I'm going to just change it out like that. So, I don't know, maybe within the next couple of weeks or so, or whenever I get some free time, I will probably put this version up on my website and let it exist there. As it turned out, this stuff, I guess this has really become more of an update video, this first video for Vlogust. But nonetheless, this is like the best time that I can get my messages out there, as not everybody sees the community posts, not everybody follows me on Instagram. So, you know, if I'm going to get people's attention, it's going to be now while I'm talking to a camera. So bear with me here. That's one of my concerns too. I don't want to be super salesy or super spammy, and I realized for at least half of this journey I wasn't really talking about Infiniti Crafting Co. as a business. And as it turns out, when I did start recognizing it as a business and not just some weird little gig thing that I'm doing on the side, and started talking about it in 2021, you know, there were quite a few people that didn't like it, but, you know, if I don't talk about it, then it disappears, so compromise, right? So that brings me to the next thing. I put out a community poll. My perception of time is skewed, but I'm going to say about a week or so ago, or a week and a half ago, or something like that, asking if I should host a sale in August. You guys might have noticed that I stopped hosting a whole bunch of sales. It got exhausting. But I overwhelmingly got a positive result from that poll, so I went ahead and set up the coupon code BTS23. You guys can get 15% off in the current merch shop, which is my Teespring store. So if you want something from there, 15% off there, or 15% off in my handmade shop on my website, or, you know, both. The same code works for both websites. So now is your time to shop. The next time I will host a sale will be in November, so that tends to be my bigger sale of the year because that is my birthday month. So, you know, I think Last year I did like 20% or something then, but we'll see what this year brings. Maybe by then I'll have some extra stuff out of the kiln because I'll be back in the studio in a couple of weeks, and I'm sure churning my heart out on that wheel. I actually got an email on my website a few weeks ago now with a recommendation for a new project, and that excites me. I don't want to give it away right now, but I guess that's something extra I can add in. You guys can like comment or shoot me an email and just like give me little ideas, and I can experiment with them. I can't guarantee that they'll all come out by the end of the 16 weeks, but I can kind of, like I said, play with some of them and put my own little odd takes on them and see what comes out of it. And if y'all like it, then I'll make a couple of an item or something and put it in the shop, and it'll be cool. I guess that's been one of the really fun things about doing the ceramics too with my fiber arts, is just the input. Lindsay, I know she's watching, she has been just a real champion on my channel, just commenting and always giving me good ideas or feedback on different stuff. So I've been enjoying that, and she's like one of the main reasons that I started doing the ceramics too with this. So, you know, again, community input matters here. I really do enjoy feeding off of what you guys have to say, because again, you guys are the building blocks to everything that I do here. Hands down, I can definitely say that a lot of the reason that I started incorporating my art back into Infiniti Craft & Co is because of community feedback. There's this one member in my community, her name is Lindsay, and I swear she is like one of my most ardent supporters, and she's just always there either giving me feedback or good ideas or recommending different stuff. So like, you know, and we just kind of chit chat back and forth together, and I think that's really great, because now this has turned into something pretty cool. I can kind of get people to look at and be like, oh, shiny, you know. And I think that's one reason why I got into teaching, because it was that feedback between me and students, even when I was teaching math. So a little fun fact, I used to volunteer and teach algebra to adults, and it was pretty cool. But like now that that's translated over to video tutorials and things like that, I still find that to be really fulfilling, yes, but I feel like there was another word on the tip of my tongue. One day I'll remember my vocabulary, but it is very gratifying to be able to do that kind of thing. And I think it's kind of mutual, because, you know, people put in their feedback and they see that it's been heard. Recently I did a video that was actually requested of me about 2 years ago, and I didn't forget, but it just never fit into my schedule. So I felt kind of bad about it, and it had been nagging me the whole time, and like I finally not broke down, but I finally did it, and so it's rendering and in the queue, so that's pretty cool. I feel like I went down a rabbit hole just now, but I think the moral of this story was just that I appreciate you guys vibing with me and just kind of communicating back and forth and giving me these great ideas to feed off of. Like I said, I got an email a couple weeks ago now, and I actually sketched something up based on said email, and I'm going to test it out in the studio when I get back in there in a couple of weeks. So that's great. If you read the blog post, you'll know that I trapped myself into doing Vlogust, because I was set up, right? So I've had this family thing going on for the last, couple of weeks. And so I haven't really had time to do all of my product shots for all of my pottery, because the other half of my pots, I'm finally ready to photograph them and prospectively list them. Some of them will be waiting until next year, but I'm ready to photograph them. And so the ones that I intend to put in the shop, I plan on revealing each day. I should have led off with that at the beginning, but I will remember for tomorrow. Each day I will be showing you guys a new pot, and by the end of the video it will be listed in the shop, and it's going to be a great time, I think. I don't know. So I'm just going to call this segment Pot of the Day. Today's pot is named Tammy. So what I did, I went through about half of the stuff that was in the tub, and I photographed it, and I wrapped it, and I named it. I more or less remember what things look like. based off the name. But some of these I really don't remember what they look like. So it's going to be equally as surprising for all of us. So I have the whole wooden crate down here, and I guess I'll just see which one's which. Another fun fact, I also look forward to going back into the studio because I plan on loading up on newspaper for the next round of shipments. But okay. This one is named Tammy. This is the one I marked for day 1. And I remember what she looks like because she is the only one that looks like this. This one went through the wood fire. You can kind of see the glazing here, like as the salts from the salt and the ash hit the side of the pots and created this orange color. But sometimes it makes it look very glossy, and then sometimes, like here on the bottom, it's very matte. And I realize my camera is bright, but that orange is called flashing. So you know the flames or the ash, one hit it or both hit it when you see all that going on. But I also put a blue ash glaze around the rim of some of these pieces, and I know for a fact that this is one of them because it was a dark blue, and the way it started running down the piece. Now my professor, bless his heart, the first round of glazing that I did with my yarn bowls, I actually did a heavy application of that stuff, and I was halfway done, and the man came back there and was like, that's not what that's for. And so, you know, I had to wash everything off and then wait a couple of days for it to dry back off, and it was just, I was mad at myself and at him, but it's fine. So this is one of those pieces where I used a little bit of the ash, like I just very subtly dipped it around the rim. And that's one of the fun things I've noticed about the wood firings, where there's open flame involved, is that the glazes have a tendency to break over edges and things like that, so there's this translucent effect up towards the top, which is great, and it kind of preserves the white color of the clay body, because I used all porcelain last semester. I finally got to use porcelain and I lost my ever-loving mind. So that's all I threw with, and so I can appreciate that. And then there's a lighter green. I'm really not sure anymore. I feel like this is the salad shooter green that I made last year, and I just lightly dipped the blue over it to see how it would react, and so it ran less drippy on the inside, but on the outside it's drippy like this. And then I don't know if you notice, I might end up having to put the picture over this, but I carved into it. Sometimes when I am in the ceramics studio, I do really random things that may or may not make sense to anybody else but me at the time, because sometimes even future me will question why I did certain things. I think I was getting very happy while I was doing yarn bowls, and I, with my hole puncher, decided to do some notches along the edge of certain pieces. Like, I think it was Betsy, that yarn bowl that I did for Independence Day. I think she has notches around the rim. Either her or Old Glory, I don't know. But I did that again for this. And then later on, right before it was bone dry, I'm like, you know, that didn't really make any sense, but I can't go back now. So I ended up etching basically a crochet chain on the face of this, and I was very satisfied with myself. And so once this came out the firing and I saw how the blue ash bled into the crevices of the carving and like stuck there very heavily, I was very pleased. So I felt inspired at the time to do a piece where I just carved crochet fabric into this. But I don't know if I'm going to continue with that idea. I might not. I don't know. Typically I create as the inspiration hits me, so we'll see how that turns out. But nonetheless, this piece will be available in my shop today. And like I said, each day I will be unveiling a new piece, and it will be uploaded promptly to the merch shop, the handmade shop, by the end of each video. I think this might actually be the longest one. I'm not quite sure, and I won't know until I get to post-production. So you know, thanks for sitting with me. I hope you at least had your coffee. I would suppose so, because I think this is going up about, what, 12:30, something like that. But hey, you might be a late riser, I do understand. So hopefully you've had your coffee by the time you have sat down and decided to hear me ramble. Thanks for sitting down with me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, you know, do all the fun YouTube things. Leave it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Maybe you randomly found this weird crochet lady talking in front of a bunch of yarn and not really touching the yarn. Subscribe so you don't miss out on my future content. Typically I don't post channel chats often. I kind of limit myself to 2 times a month, mostly because I don't have updates typically. But this is Vlogust, and like I said, you'll be seeing this face absolutely every single day as far as I can help it. Some of these might be live streams, especially as school starts and you know, that schedule cries. I might do late night live streams while I'm stuck being awake, so we'll see about that. School starts in a couple of weeks, like I said, so it shouldn't be too bad. I think, let me see, I might have a week and a half proper to deal with that, and it'll only be a couple days a week, so we'll see how that plays out. You know, I might actually remain consistent through that. We'll see. Well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today. Hope you'll come back for tomorrow, or, you know, maybe you don't want to hear me talk tomorrow, you just want to hear the tutorials or follow the tutorial. There will be a tutorial tomorrow, I promise. I'm gonna shut up. And until next time, guys, happy making. Okay, but no, really, I know a lot of this video I touched on some of the business stuff that's been going on behind the scenes with Infiniti Crafting Co. But if you want to know more about me personally, you just ask the question, because I really don't know what to say half the time when I press record. Okay, I'm still rambling. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go away now.